What's going on, Luca Nation? Little Memorial Day episode, and I think it's going to be a really, really fun one. Cage, I don't know if you felt it. My energy's been a little lower the last few days, but I always love days like this. Days like this, I don't know how other people take them. They give me a lot of perspective, right? So take a moment, give a shout out to Memorial Day, to all the fallen soldiers. And, sometimes as you're running a business, as you're investing in cards, as you're just living normal day life, we get caught up in like the minutia of things. And we fail to realize and this day gives me a lot of perspective. I hope I'm doing a good job explaining we're so fortunate. We're so lucky to live in a country where we could pursue our dreams. We could live free. And, these are 18, 19, 20, 30, 25-year-old young men and women who have passed away to give us the opportunity to live the true life of our dreams, right? And when I get caught up in the minutia, I always use days like this. And it's fortunate it came this time of the year. We have it so good, we have so much opportunity. I want to take a moment, to go a little different direction with our episode here today, but just talk about that. And we have it so good. There's so much opportunity. There's so much to be grateful and thankful for. And one thing is the people who have sacrificed for us to be able to live the life that we want. So that's how I wanted to kick off today's episode. We have a lot of good topics.
You're always about the grateful. And you always ask about 5. But I'll ask you just for an episode. This is one of these exercises that the guru here, Andrew Yoda Goldberg, he says, so give me 2 things you're grateful for, not 5. Give me 2. Give me 2 things you're grateful for, right? And you can't use our active military listeners and our veterans and our folks because I'm going to say thank you to those guys during this episode. But you can give me 2 things you're grateful for. Let's go. I want to hear it.
I wrote them down today.
You got your grateful diary?
I'm going to call it a diary, but sure, you could call it a diary. It's pink. It's actually orange, dude.
It's lovely. It's furry. It's got a little lock and a key on it.
No, dude. Come on. It's orange. It's art.
What does it say on the cover? Boys stay out. Not for your eyes, for Andrew's eyes only. Cool, man. You have a little doodle on there. Could sell that one day as an NFT. All right. What are you grateful for?
I can't believe you don't think it's cool that the previous tenant left this journal and it's Luca Nation colors. It's Luca Nation orange. How did you not give that more love? That's that's messed up. I question your loyalty now. So first thing, I'm grateful that I learned that the only true competition is with myself. And I'm grateful I have a computer to run a business from. And I'm grateful I have a sister and a family that supports me and loves me. How about that? Big
3. I like that one.
2 more. I try to go.
Give me 2 more. Let's get to it.
Cover all the ranges. I just closed it. You heard that clap knack.
All right, I'll do one more. I'll do one. You ready? You know what I'm grateful for? That I don't have to do that stupid stuff. You do it instead. But that way both of us have to do it.
Opportunity to live the life I've always dreamt of.
Ooh, hey now.
I'm still hungry for more. It's just dude, you don't I don't know what you're trying to do here or the goal of this whole project. But here's the thing, man. We all go through stuff day in, day out. We do. We go through stuff, and this helps you recenter your perspective. It lets you set a foundation for the day to start from. And you could have your own morning routines. I'm not pushing these on anybody else. I've just learned the hard way that if I want consistent results, I have to have consistent habits, and this is a consistent habit that helps me.
So you know what I'm trying to do? You said you're low energy for the last couple of days. The only time
lower. I'm never low energy.
The only tried and true method that I have found over the last almost year of giving you an energy kickstart is by taking shots at your gurudom, by poking Yoda a little bit, And look, it already happened. I don't know what you're trying to do here. I don't know what you're doing. Look at the energy; it's flowing. You get all agitated. So here we go. We can get some high energy.
That's true, dude. That is true. I don't know
what you're trying to do. I don't know what you're doing here. Look at you, man. You're raring to go already. So listen, it's Monday. up here in the Northeast. It rains for 2.5 of this Memorial Day weekend. You got the pool open, and it didn't matter. My pool, the water level raised 6 inches because it just rain. I finally got outside today a little bit, walked a little bit with the family. Got to go to a card show yesterday, so that was a little bit of fun. We talked about that obviously on yesterday's episode. Got a lot of love in the post, with the showing the kids trading and stuff at the card show. But yeah, man, I am thankful for your sentiment this morning, and not looking past the fact that it is Memorial Day, and a lot of people gave up their todays so that we could have tomorrows. So it's definitely something worth noting, worth taking a moment to to acknowledge and to be thankful for.
What do you know about Topps 2012 Platinum?
But I don't know anything about it. What would you like me to know about it? What sport?
Football.
Is it Bowman Platinum? Is it just regular
No, just
Topps
Topps.
Platinum?
So I'll give you like a backstory. So in the hobby, there's a little bit of angst because card prices have been going down. And what I've learned, the best way to kind of get over, some things that have happened in the past is actually to have something exciting in the future to look forward to, right? And Memorial Day always reminds me of, we go to the shore, it's the beginning of what? Summer.
Summer, yeah.
Well, what's the close of summer? Close of summer is the beginning of the NFL. And I started thinking about, let me look at some quarterbacks to buy, some quarterback opportunities for next season. Plus, you guys know, like August, looking forward to football season is one of the best times in the year. Everyone loves that August month. Everyone loves football season. So I was like, I'm excited. I wanted to find something to be excited for. And it was football. And I was looking at a few guys, Patrick Mahomes, Ryan Tannehill, and Russell Wilson. Okay. And I was thinking one of those three, I came in and was like, I think there has to be a play here. And what I kind of came back with was, I think Patrick Mahomes is overrated in card prices. Please, before Cage. Actually, Cage is going to agree with that because he likes Mahomes, so he's not going to give me the MPJ treatment. But I think Mahomes' card prices are a little bit overvalued for what he's accomplished. And I think he's going to take a step back this year because of how many games he's played, how much pressure he's had. He's doing commercials. He's doing all of that stuff, and he's just a young guy. So I think Patrick Mahomes is a bit overvalued. Tannehill, I don't know how you feel about Tannehill, but he was an MVP caliber player last year. And he's improved season over season, Cage. He had his career high, 33 touchdowns last season with 7 interceptions. So he's a step up. I think Tannehill's a play, but that's not the one I think is the better play. I went and looked at Russ Wilson. And why I asked you about Topps Platinum was there's like a 2012 Russell Wilson Topps Platinum X-Fractor that just sold for $460. That's not my play, but I didn't know about that set, so I wanted to ask you, and then I would get into my play, which just, is
wow. No,
Russell
I don't know
Wilson
about that set.
Topps Chrome.
So 2012, we talked about this with Russell Wilson. There's a lot of different cards out there because he had both Prism and Chrome in that year. So there's definitely choices for somebody like Russell Wilson. I have not looked at a Topps Platinum set, but I will now that I'm curious about it.
It was an interesting set, but my play is Topps Chrome. It's a basic play. I think Russell Wilson's getting better and better and better. I think what we've seen with Tom Brady is that franchise quarterbacks can play until their 40s. And I think the reason why is, yes, it's a physical sport, but I think everyone knows that you build an offensive line and you have a franchise quarterback in football, and then you build around that. So I think Russell Wilson's going to play well into his 40s. I don't know if you agree with that, but I certainly do. But more than that, you see his Prism PSA 10 from 2012 is $1,000. His Topps Chrome's $600. So I just think that disparity is going to even out as season approaches. I think people are just going to eventually go for the cheaper option until those are maybe both $1,500 cards, because I still think they could appreciate. I think the Topps Chrome could actually appreciate a bit more than the Prism. So that's my play. Russ Wilson, Topps Chrome 2012 PSA 10.
I like it. I don't know who plays to the 40s now. These guys are making a lot of money and that kind of stuff. But, you wouldn't think it would be him because his style of play involves his legs as well. But even though I think we'd be going into his 10th season now, he really doesn't seem to take those huge hits. Like, he's elusive enough where, he doesn't seem to end up, taking those monstrous hits that some of the other mobile quarterbacks do. So, yeah, I think he's going to have a long career ahead of him. I'm not 100% sure about this. I thought I heard it during the season this year because he was starting off with, it was him and Rodgers would talk about like MVP talk and Mahomes MVP talk, you name it. But I'm not 100% sure whether or not he was one who had, even though he plays at such a high level, I know he hasn't won an MVP. I don't know if he's ever even gotten an MVP vote. right? And then people were talking about, oh, he's definitely going to get some this year. And then Rodgers just kind of ran away with it and, the whole deal. So it's, he always seems to start off kind of like a house on fire as well. And then kind of like tail off. But yeah, I mean, listen, for $600 PSA 10, especially when you compare them to the prices people are paying for Mahomes cards, it's a bargain. So, and I like looking at football now too because not a lot of people are.
Cage,
so
you know this in football. You sometimes got to knock on the door until someone lets you in. So like, they're always around. The Seahawks are always in contention. And football isn't basketball. It's just freakishly. I don't even know the right adjective or word to use to describe it, but like, it's a game of inches, and it's not the Seahawks are bad. They're one or two or three players on both sides of the ball away from being in the playoffs, and then in the playoffs, anything can happen. So I could fully see the Seahawks winning the Super Bowl this season because they have Russell Wilson, they have an offensive line, and they have a championship coach. They have the 12th man, they have fans, they have everything in their favor to build around. So you know how it is in football. You're never like you're in it, and then you add a few players in the offseason, and then you're right there in contention to win the Super Bowl. And I think I wouldn't be surprised if the Seahawks are in the Super Bowl this season.
Yeah, no, I mean they're always a contender, always a contender. He's never really had a bad team around him, so I like the play. So here's mine, and you tell me what you think about this, right? So the NBA is sort of moving towards this, right? No, you don't give the big man any love, right? The center doesn't really get any love. Although this year we got the big men. The Embiid was getting a little love. The Joker is probably going to win the MVP. You got a big man. But what everyone is looking for is everybody's looking for a 7-footer who can shoot the three. Everybody's looking for a stretch player like that. Somebody who's huge.
Stop stealing my Gote Bataz played. You're not
go Bataz.
Everyone knows that's my guy.
No, so that's not my play, right? But here is my play. You ready? My play is, and I've talked about this a bunch, and I mentioned Devontae Graham. You guys know I talk about him all the time. But what I would tell folks to do, we want to have strategies, right? We want to have strategies here. I got a great message today from a listener, basically saying, "Hey, thanks for the honesty. Thanks for what you and Andrew do, and not coming on it every single day saying." Well, if you don't want to lose money, move all of your collection now into low-pop numbered versions of cards. He says, if I want to get that, I'd listen to every other podcast that's out there because, we're all geniuses now. The base is not where you want to be. Everybody should be rich already because they've already sold all their PSA 10 prisms. Just move those into the low-pop numbered cards. Okay, well, great, guys. You can't just do that. It's not just let's just flip a switch and move our collections over to what's not going down as much. It's great. It looks great. It sounds great. But the vast majority of people are out there sitting with their PSA 10 prisms in one hand and their junk in the other saying, what am I supposed to do right now? So here's what you do, right? Not everybody can buy those numbered cards. Not everybody can buy those autos, those RPAs. And I think there's still money to be made on the right plays of those base cards, all right? So here's the research that goes into it, guys. Basketball is going to end soon, right? And for a lot of people, basketball has already ended. I want you to go to Safari or Google or whatever search term, whatever search engine you use. And I want you to type in 2021 NBA free agents. And what you'll find is most likely a top 30 list, a top 50 list, a free agent tracker, something that's going to show all the free agents. Now, you might get an analysis of all of them. Right? Some of them will be unrestricted free agents, which mean they're going to be tested the market. Some will be restricted free agents. Some will have team options. Some will have player options, right? I want you to go through all of them. And then I want you to check the news on the couple that you think are plays, right? A couple of them you think make sense. A couple of them that maybe had an off year this year, right?
Okay, do you want me to read them out for Luca
No,
Nation?
I'm going to give you one right now. But you can read because the play is not only my play. There are a half dozen plays here, but I'm going to give you the one. Laurie Marketing.
Give him the one.
Laurie
Marketing. Wow.
Yep. So this is
out of this entire free agent class, Cage went with Laurie Marketing.
And here's why, right? I think you buy him now, 23 years old, 7-footer, who in a down year last year still shot over 40% from three. Okay? Now, that's going to be somebody who has already said, and here's why I pick him. Because a lot of these guys, it's going to be a non-issue that they're free agents. Just going to re-sign with their team, right? He's already said he's testing the free agent market. He's not coming back. He's going to test the market. He's going to see what kind of offers he gets out there. And the Celtics are kicking the tires on him. A lot of news out there. A lot of smoke about how Danny Ainge is looking for somebody taller than Tristan Thompson and look for somebody else who might actually be able to provide some offense when, I don't know, maybe Jaylen Brown gets hurt, maybe Kemba Walker's not there, and Jason Tatum's got to score 65 points every time they get out on the court just to keep his team close. The dude makes sense. He would fit in their offense. He'd fit in what they're doing there. And I'm not saying he's going to land there. But what I'm saying is when people start having articles like that, and that's an article that came out today, right? People have articles like that. People have, where's he going to land? Where's he going to go? His PSA 10 Prism rookie card is $40 right now. Sold this week for $40, right? For $300, we really want to go big time and invest. Last week, one of his blue ice out of 99 PSA 10s sold for $300, right? So you want to go nuts? Go ahead and do that. You want to get something in between? $100? Go ahead. Silvers, less than $100. I'm telling you, $40. And it's probably going to get cheaper over the next week or two during the playoffs, so nobody's looking at lowering marketing. But people are still selling them, right? Because they're coming back from PSA, because they were submitted probably before the season started, when he had a little bit of a down year, shooting 40% from three as a 7-footer. $30, maybe $35 cash. You find somebody selling these things online, and what's going to happen? He's going to sign with the Celtics, or he's going to sign with some other team that has a fan base, that has another player on it, and people are going to talk about how he's going to be the piece that moves them ahead from where they ended this year, right? And that's all you need. I don't even care if you sell this card before he sets foot on the court for another team. But at $30, if his PSA 10 goes to $60, if you buy it at $40 and it goes to $60, you made 50%. I mean, come on now. You know, it is one of those plays. Now, Andrew can read off a list of the other players on here, the other top guys on the list. A lot of the top guys are guys who are already high priced. People like Kawhi Leonard, people like Chris Paul. They're going to be the top of all those lists. And those are not the players I'm looking for you to invest in per se, because I'm looking for you could buy volume. You know, you find somebody with a stack of Lauri Markkanen, and maybe for $500, you know, you're getting 15 of his PSA 10s, and you're flipping them all like crazy before the next season starts, when you see some workouts of him with the next team, or the day it's announced that he signs with that next team. You're putting them on Star Stock or wherever it may be. And either that's another part of the play. Buy him now, get him into Star Stock, put him in there, and that way when the news drops of the Celtics signing him or whoever signs him, you sell him that day. No shipping, no problems, no backseas. Go for it, man.
I like to play. The thing about Lauri Markkanen, I have a really good friend from Finland, so I've been watching Lauri Markkanen since his University of Arizona days. He's the kind of guy who has everything except for the it factor. He always kind of shies away. He's always becomes like a third, fourth, fifth option. But the way you expanded on the plan, you said, you know, buy the hype, sell the news. When he does move and they start talking about, is he the final piece for the Celtics? The news will drive the price up, and that's a great opportunity to sell. So I totally agree. I'm not going to. You want me to read some of these? I don't want to read them.
There's other names on the list. I mean, there's plenty of names on the list. You know, guys who are still playing now in the playoffs. You know, Norman Powell's on the list, right? You know, Devontae Graham, who I've mentioned, is on the list, right? Bobby Portis is on the list. The kid Bryn Forbes, who just had a monster game for the Bucks. You know, but these are guys who are playing in the playoffs, right? So, yeah, if they get knocked out, you have a chance. I'm talking about somebody who's already been eliminated, you know what I mean? Who no one's looking at, and they won't be looking at during the playoffs either. So, but yeah,
it's a great
you can find the list. You can find the list anywhere, right? And this is, guys, I do this because it's exactly what Andrew tells me I have to do every single episode, which is don't give you guys the fish. Give you guys a fishing pole. Tell you how to put the hook on the line. Tell you how to put the lure on. Go get a worm and put it on the hook. And then you can fish yourselves.
How much do you pay for your worms?
I take them out of the garden, man. I take them right out of the garden. You know, maybe I'll fly fish. You can do that. You know, you even see a river runs through it. Looks like you know, it's pretty cool. Like a little artistry there with the fly fishing. You know. No, you don't like the fly fishing, but yes,
I do.
What else do we got? You want to give me some?
Let's talk a little.
Here's what I want to hear from you, because it's NBA. I know you want to talk about it, but here's what I want from you. A couple days ago, you could say the Clippers were done, and it looks like Dallas may come out of the West. Right now, 2 games later, I said you could say it. I didn't say you did say it. I said you could say it. Now 2 games later, you could say the exact opposite. The Dallas looks done, and the Clippers look like a world beater out of the West. A lot of that is just parity, right? A lot of that is just none of these teams look like world beaters anyway. But what's your take on that series?
Well, First thing, guys, we have this show called Scouts with Conrad. So that's where we do a deep dive. We do it twice a week now. So if you want to listen to it and kind of follow along with the NBA playoffs as we go, and you might not have time to watch all of the games in depth, tune in. It's on the same Luca Nation Network YouTube channel. So just tune in. We've been doing it for a little while. It's fun. What's my take on this series? I believe I said that the Mavs shot 35 for 70 in the first two games. They shot the lights out from three-point range, 50% from three-point range, and that's a volume. That's a lot of 70 three-pointers. For context, there's teams like the Spurs who shoot 10 three-pointers a game. They were just overperforming. Luka was carrying them. But we've talked about this time and time again. I guess I was never a Kristaps Porzingis believer. I was never a Josh Richardson believer. So I always thought those two guys were way overvalued. And even Tim Hardaway, who could go off sometimes, is pretty good. But other than that, I just think they shot lights out, and it's a regression to the mean. They're not a good shooting team. They're not a good offensive team. Luka looks a little bit banged up, but frankly, even if he wasn't, they're just not a good team. They haven't been a good team all season. And they overperformed all year. So that's my take on it. And the Clippers played so poorly, and they were still close in those games. So I think it's just a regression to the mean. The Clippers are good, man. The Clippers are a jump shooting team, though. That's really what's difficult about them. They take a ton of jumpers, and they, like Charles Barkley always says, you live and die by the jumper. So sometimes your shot's not falling, and the other team's three-pointers are. It's really hard to stay in games. But I think they're attacking more. I love that Tyronn Lue's playing Terrence Mann more. I just think he's a good player. I don't know why he doesn't play more.
Put a lot of energy.
Yeah.
A lot of rebounds, kept them at a pace, right? That Dallas, it didn't seem like they could keep up with.
Yeah, sometimes he plays Reggie Jackson, and I understand playing Reggie Jackson if you're a below 500 team, but you don't need more scoring. Why do you need to give Reggie Jackson 10 to 15 shots a game? Give those shots to Kawhi and Paul George, and have someone like Terrence Mann who comes off the bench, or even put him in the starting lineup, frankly, in my opinion, who brings so much energy. I've never been a Reggie Jackson guy. I don't understand his value. So it's just a bit of gamesmanship. Dallas overperformed in LA, and I think the Clippers are the kind of regression to the mean. I think the Clippers are a better team. I said it on Scouts. I wouldn't be surprised if they come out of the West, man. There's no one else.
I think you could say that for every single team. Literally right now, I would not be surprised. No matter what team come out of the West, I wouldn't be surprised because there's no one that you'd be like, oh, that team is so head and shoulders above anybody else. They're not. And I saw a stat today at 538.com, the stat thing, the one that called the last two elections very wrong. But we'll give them a pass on election stuff where they're like a sports thing, right? So, but anyway, they said right now Utah's favored to win the whole thing. Definitely favored to come out of the West, the Jazz. And
yeah, but
you told me the Jazz doesn't make it out of this first round series, I wouldn't be that surprised, So
right. Well, I think you have to clear the smoke away. Like when this happens, when there's a lot of parity, there's a lot of smoke. I think there's no other team with two guys. I would even say three guys, but really Kawhi and Paul George. Who's better out of the West? What team has better talent, more proven talent right now? Anthony Davis is injured with the groin.
Yeah, but I'm not worried about that. LeBron has shoulders. LeBron has shoulders that are made to carry. They're made to put the weight on those shoulders. He's ready. LeBron's ready.
LeBron's playing very weird basketball right now.
He's ready.
He's not attacking the rim a lot. He's not attacking the rim a lot. He's not being very aggressive. But we have Kawhi and Paul George. I mean, okay, Utah's a good team, but I'll take Kawhi over Donovan Mitchell any day. So
I just think disrespecting Rudy Gobert.
You want to have some fun with this. You want to have
the disrespect is terrible. All right, so listen. So here you are. You've been a believer in the Wizards all year long, and you also are a Philadelphia guy. Philly close it down tonight. Sweep. They take the brooms with them.
Yeah. Well, I've been a believer in the Wizards, but at the end of the day, like you need players to play. Talent wins in the league, and the Sixers have 7, 8 guys. The Wizards have 2 guys, literally 2 guys. The rest of their team is just trash. So yeah,
Coach Buttholzer.
But I mean, I see no value predicting the game today because I think the Wizards could win this game and the Sixers win the next one. It's the same way the Celtics beat the Nets in that game. Or it's a kind of overmatched series.
Did you watch
My
the Nets
predictions
game, though?
was
Did you watch the Nets game?
a little bit.
If you
It's
watch
kind of
that Net
boring.
game, it's hard to predict. It's hard to see somebody beating the Nets. It really is. Like, Durant.
You believe
It's
that?
hard. It's hard to see somebody beating
They're
the
playing a
Nets.
G League Celtics
It doesn't
team.
matter. It doesn't matter.
It matters dramatically. It matters. Like I can. You don't understand how much it matters.
Those three guys, right? Those three guys,
they're going to come out cold versus the Bucks because
that's very possible. It's very possible.
They're going to come
Bucks are a great
for a
matchup.
half.
Yeah, and they did. They came out cold against the Celtics in the first half too. The Bucks are going to give them a good run. They are. But you know what? I watched that whole game yesterday. I know it's the Celtics, and I know they don't have anywhere near the team that they should put up with, and they played like a perfect first quarter. But I'm watching it. I'm like, oh wow, Harden's not really putting up the numbers that KD and Kyrie are putting up. They hit very contested shots. They hit hard shots. Like they just show up when they need to show up. And it's funny because I'm like, oh, wow, I wonder if all three of them could score 30 points. Because at one point, like at halftime, I think they all had 15 or more. I'm like, I wonder if all three of them scored 30 points. At one point in the third quarter, the three of them had outscored the entire Celtics team, right? But I'm like, all right, Harden's really tailing off. Like he's not scoring as much as the other two. And then I looked at the stat line. I think he had 17 or 18 assists to go with his 20-something points. I mean, like, it's weird because during the season, I thought to myself, all right, it's going to be difficult to see these guys play together. It's three egos. It's three on-ball guys. It's three guys who need the ball in their hand. It's three egos was the right word, I'll say at the beginning and the end. But what I've been most surprised about is Harden basically saying, you know what? I don't need to be the guy. I don't need to be the alpha. I will create offense. He had this sick behind-the-back pass to KD where KD hit a three. It was just
I'm losing you a little bit here, Cage.
out of nowhere.
I'm losing you a bit.
I hear you. I mean, to think Harden would be the guy who would be willing to take a back seat and just have assists and just be the guy to say, you know what, I don't have to score. I don't have to have the ball in my hand every single time. I don't have to be shooting these step back threes and whatnot. Let these guys do it. It's that alone made me more of a believer in the Nets. Could they get beat by the Bucks? Sure. I think it's going to be a great series. But just watching the three of them on the court, which you didn't get to see that often, and seeing that they didn't have to all score. Like they were playing roles and playing well together. I watched that and I'm like, all right, this team's going to be dangerous. That's all.
So my official predictions are going to be the Bucks are going to upset them. But I'm not saying – so let's just take that away for a second. I agree with everything you said. The only issue is they haven't faced any adversity. They haven't faced any game time adversity this season. So it's easy, like you're saying, that they're trading off being alphas. One game Kyrie's an alpha, one game Durant's an alpha, one game Harden's an alpha. That's all great until you're playing in a bigger game, in a game where it's 2-2 and you're playing at home and you need someone to make that last shot. Or it's 3-3, game 7. Who's making that? So it's easy to say now when they're playing kind of a preseason game, which they know they're going to win no matter what, versus when they face a little bit of pressure. Who does get the ball? Are they selfless enough at that point? And I'm not saying they are or they aren't. I think there's no evidence on it. The jury's out on it.
So you say the Bucks win. I say it Nets in 6 or less. I don't even think the Bucks are good, but I don't think they win. I definitely don't think they win. I don't think the Nets have that hard.
It's a talent versus heart type of right? It's talent versus heart. What do you think?
Well, I mean, I don't know. No, I don't think it's that at all. I think that what the Bucks have showed you year after year is that if you can shut down Giannis, you'll do fine against them. And they have not really done much to bring talent in around them to give another layer. I know Adam Rips will listen to this and be upset with me because he talked about them bringing in Bobby Portis and yeah, it was a great move.
Why did you twitch like that?
Because it's Bobby Portis. It's like Bobby Portis, But so that's not scaring anyone. Just
it's not.
I think if the Nets play their game, they beat anyone.
Well, I think the big question is, how good will Giannis be on offense? I think that's actually the biggest differentiator because, Jordan was in a similar stage here in his career, right?
Yep. 6
seasons. He won a lot. He had a lot of accolades. He kind of burst onto the scene a lot like Giannis has. He's improved a lot, but he couldn't get over that hurdle. And I think at 26, 27 is when he first did. I and I think it was when Dennis Rodman actually joined the team. I'm not comparing Drew Holiday to Dennis Rodman, but I guess Jordan had a more refined, more polished offensive game, like shooting 46% from the free throw line, being very inconsistent from 3-point range. But hypothetically, don't you think that Giannis is the X factor in this?
I think Giannis can score 50 a game and they still lose. As
You think
Tatum's
Giannis
showing.
scores 50?
I think he could
And they
score
lose?
50 a game. I think he could score 50 a game, just like Tatum scores 50
No,
almost in every
Tatum
game.
scores 50 on the Celtics team that has no second or third tier score.
Well, Chris Middleton is no Scottie Pippen, and they don't have a Horace Grant. It's a very different comparison. I know what you're trying to say, and it's very possible.
I'm presenting a scenario.
I think the Bucks are a very good team. I think the Bucks will win a game, maybe two, but I think the Nets are just. I don't even think they've played, out of neutral yet. So,
What if Giannis has like a Jordan-esque series? Would that change your thinking on him? Because, and I'm not saying that I am thinking this or not, but I think it's a very defining series for Giannis and his career.
I think Steve Nash could start fouling Giannis in the middle of the third quarter, and it wouldn't matter.
He might. He might.
You know what I mean? This Giannis, until he beats you, I don't buy Giannis until he beats somebody. I don't buy him.
Would you buy like hypothetically and buy into Giannis cards after he wins the series?
No.
Because it'll be too late.
I don't buy anybody who can't shoot at least 75% from a free throw line. Because as much as you work on your game, you can't do that. Work on your game a little more.
Gotcha. You're not interested in engaging debate.
By the way, I'm only kidding.
You're talking to me like
I'm a huge Shaq fan, so that's clearly the free throws is clearly a lie. But no, honestly, if he surprises me, sure. I mean, look, I think Giannis is a decent investment. I really do, because even if he doesn't get over the hump this year, I wouldn't really blame him. He is a supreme athletic talent. He's a great defensive player. He's done more with less than basically anyone in the NBA, right? Everybody else who has succeeded has had a Robin, has had that B player, and some of them have a C player. You know what I mean? Look at LeBron. LeBron, he's always had a better player than what Giannis has ever had. You know what I mean? Every championship LeBron has, he's always had a player on his team that's better than anything that Giannis has had during his career. So
Wade and Chris Bosh and Ray Allen.
Yeah, and Kyrie and
Kevin
Davis,
Love.
And Anthony Davis. And come on now. So there's nothing against Giannis. It really is more about the Bucks. And I like Giannis. I really do. I think he's a great talent. I think he's an amazing player. But, the Bucks, they spent some money, but what did they put around them?
Just to put a bow on this, and I love this discourse. I'm asking those questions really specifically. It's actually one of my topics here. My hypothesis is there's no player that has more to gain from the next series and from this NBA playoffs in general. I think most people's legacies, if you kind of look around, are set. But if you look at Giannis, his cards could really jump if he wins the championship. And I don't think there's like LeBron loses, who cares? Kevin Durant loses, who cares?
I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I don't know. I mean,
you think his cards take a dip?
I think, yeah, definitely, because they've been steamed up so high because everybody expects them to win a championship. Not to mention, you want to talk about the fuel to the fire of KD can only win with a super team, and even when they put him on a super team, he can't do it. So that's definitely
his cards will dip, but like it's nothing that you can't hold through. But that's the negative. But look at the positive. Does Kevin Durant's cards really appreciate if he wins? Does LeBron's cards really go up if they win?
So yeah,
I think Giannis's cards go berserk if he wins the NBA playoff, NBA Finals.
But yes, that's true. But so would so many other people. So would Luka's. So would Trey's. I mean, obviously, anybody who wins an NBA championship who has never done it before, their cards go up tremendously because that's the hugest box to check. Saying that's a reason why Giannis can beat the Nets, that doesn't mean shit. Everybody's cards go up that haven't won it before. I mean, you don't think Luka's cards go crazy? You don't think Trey's cards go crazy? Of course they do. Does Giannis have more to gain than the Nets people have to lose? Sure. If that's your point, I'll concede it. Yes. But I mean, he has nobody to help him. I mean, I'm thrilled, and I would love to be proved wrong because I'm not a huge Nets guy, and I don't love Kevin Durant. I've watched a lot of their games. I definitely watched a lot of this series, and I know it's against the Celtics, and they're basically like a G League team without their talent. They have nobody there. But I'm a believer in the Nets. I could very well be wrong, and I'd love to see Giannis win. Man, the guy's done everything right. He stayed in the right place. He stayed there. He stayed in his hometown team there. He didn't leave and try to join a super team. He'd be a legit like Dirk level guy, right? Like I did it against super teams. I did it against whoever he's going to wind up beating in the West. And, he brought a title to the team that drafted him and took a chance on him. And, that he built up that team and that city based on that team. It will be a huge thing. It'll be a huge story, 100%. But, you got to have the horses.
So my argument, Luka Nation, you guys decide this. What single player do you think has the most to gain from winning a championship this season? I'll leave it up to the nation to decide. I think it's Giannis. While you were talking, I was kind of like, yeah, Luka, Trey, but I don't think they're even in contention to win with their current team. I just don't think. Whereas Giannis has always been on that cusp of right there, and I think that he has an opportunity to, from an investor standpoint, to be a blue chip kind of investment, similar to Durant and LeBron. Maybe I'm wrong.
Listen. I hear you. I mean, if you want to say who's the closest, right? Didn't he go to the finals already once and just missed out on the finals last year by getting knocked out by the Heat? So, yeah, he's always been on the cusp.
Right, but he's also been a two-time MVP. He's also a defensive player of the year or a candidate. I don't know if he won defensive player of the year. Those are the two things Trey and Luka haven't done. So it's interesting. It's just a debate. Luka Nation, I'll put a bow on it. Happy Memorial Day. Enjoy the family time. We love you. We'll be back tomorrow.